Good afternoon, y'all. We have Josie and Dalton will not practice today. Caden, Saubert, Boone, Wilson, Mike Purcell, Quinn, Darius, Jonathan Cooper, K1, Billy, Damari Mathis will all be limited. Everybody else is full. Yeah, just something that came up here today, this morning, so we're just trying to work through it, a little back issue.
What's with Damari? What's had him limited? He was on Tuesday.
Knee, yeah. It's a knee that he's working through right now.
Do you expect Justin Simmons, Michael J. Moody, and Greg Dulcich to come off the IR before Monday's game?
That's what we're looking for. We're going to try to get them out here practicing and see where they're at. But, right now we've got that time frame that you're allowed to keep them in practicing, getting them acclimated after they've been out for quite a while. So we'll get them practicing. We'll see where they're at, and we'll play that by ear. But, we're hoping.
With OJ and Dulcich, since they haven't played at all this year, do you expect that to be a slight incline for them, or do you want them to be fully ready to go when they're out there?
We would definitely like them to be fully ready, but we'll just have to try to evaluate that throughout practice.
You hit top 5 in explosive plays, but then also I think near the bottom in terms of those negative plays that you mentioned. How do you kind of balance still taking those shots down the field to get those well, avoid the negatives?
That's a fantastic question. That's been the thing that we have been looking at over and over and over again, because we want to be aggressive. We love the explosive plays, and they've been great, but our feast and famine has really hurt us. It set us back, whether we're get big chunks, and then once you get a big chunk, and then you end up setting yourself back for certain reasons. And it's not, again, that's not necessarily one person. It's a combination of everybody together, and I think it's those guys just playing together. So I think that for us, we're just going to continue to coach the fundamentals and the basics, and just capitalize on the simple things, and not feel like we have to do something more or overthink things. I think as these guys continually work together and play together, I think it's going to get better, and we're going to be able to limit those things, because right now first down efficiency is what is really killing us.
As you go over the film, what is it that Bradley is really doing well right now that's giving him the success that he's had?
First and foremost, his ability to get to the QB has been very impressive. I mean, his power, his ability to come off read, run to pass, and then be able to dip, rip, and get different moves. His ability in the stunts has been very good, because a lot of the sacks that we've gotten that he hasn't gotten, he's been a part of it because he's flushed him up and pushed him into certain people. So I mean, just overall as a team, understanding where he needs to be has been very impressive. And then you still add in the ability for him to stop the run and set the edge has been great. So it's just been all around. I mean, he's really just been a good, sound football player, and you add in that athleticism, the confidence, and that's where those explosive plays are coming for him.
What challenge does Herbert present with you guys? I know he was dealing with injury, but it looked like against Cleveland he certainly is getting healthier.
Yes, he is.
What challenge does he present for this defense?
First and foremost, he can just drop back and play quarterback. And then when things don't work out or the pocket collapses, he can take off and he can run, and he's an elite runner. He's got very good speed. And he also has the ability to keep his eyes downfield and find explosive plays down the field. So I think that's what really stresses a defense more than anything. You want to try to keep him in the pocket as much as you possibly can, because when he gets out, that sometimes, I mean, and that's not necessarily how we draw it up whenever there's a scramble. It looks really cool, but his just ability to create when things aren't perfect, I think is the thing that he does best.
You've gone up against Khalil Mack, obviously, before. What sort of challenge is he, and then how unique is Darwin James in terms of how they use him?
Khalil is a dynamic player. I mean, we've all known that. He's been that way for a long time. It's funny, coming here, I figured that he weren't going to have to see him twice a year, and then he goes ahead and goes to the Chargers. But he is an elite player right now, and both playing the run and playing the pass, being able to rush the passer. I mean, he is so elite at that, and it's challenges because we have to be able to work as a team to be able to block him. It's not just one man. You can't just say it's the right tackle, the left tackle. It's got to be a lot of people, and he's just that good, and you don't want him to take over the game. And then Darwin, with him, I think he's done a great job playing in the box. He's a physical player, and he's got amazing athleticism to be able to cover, to be able to drop in coverage. But really just his ability to play in that box and be a force in the run game is pretty impressive.
Do you think Russ was laboring a little bit with the shoulder the last game, and does he look better now in practice this week?
He definitely looks good. We'll see more today. Russ has played in the league for a long time, and all players, have different things that they have to deal with. And, he doesn't complain. He keeps his head down. He works hard. He does everything he can to make his body feel as good as he possibly can throughout the season. And I think that you're always dealing with that stuff across the board. And but I do think that he's doing an amazing job getting himself to 100%.
Players always want to play. They'll always want to play. How do you as a coach determine whether or not, I understand your desire, but it's just not happening? What kind of gauge do you use to determine whether or not it's more hurtful or harmful?
First and foremost, it's about our medical team. We always have to talk with them. They're the most important thing for me, first and foremost, and understanding when they can and can't due to that injury. I'm obviously not a doctor, and so I want to listen to them and take their advice first. And then from there, as coaches, we'll decide where they're at, both mentally and physically. So, but first and foremost, it's about the medical team.
Coach, you've been around Southern California for part of your life, especially growing up, so you kind of know this Chargers-Broncos rivalry. What do you think about the history of it?
I remember the first time I got to meet Junior Seau. I was so scared of him, and he was such a dominant player when I was a kid. And then when I got to meet him at one point, he was one of the nicest guys I'd ever met. But just thinking about those days, O'Neal and Humphreys, and that was kind of my time. And then as they developed, they had all these great players. Antonio Gates. He's the epitome of all tight ends. And watching just the West in general is such an amazing division to watch. And then you add in all those teams and all those teams that have been good throughout it. It's a great rivalry. And it's one of those things that we need to start competing better in this rivalry, in this West. And but they are all very solidified, and they're doing a good job.
Do you know what you're doing to left tackle?
We're going to work through that. This week, we want to see practice. We want to see everybody. Cam has done a really good job for us up to this point. Calvin stepped in and did a really nice job last week. Billy's starting to come back from injury, so we're going to need everybody. Somehow, some way, we're going to need everybody, so we'll try to field the best five we can.
Time for a few more for the coach?
Do you consider Billy an option there?
We consider everybody. I think in the end, we want to try to put the best five out there and make sure that they're ready to go because they've got a tough task this weekend.
You talked about Justin Herbert's ability to escape. Derek Carr was able to get a few runs on you guys that way, being able to work through all that and get that ready for this game.
That happened, and we got to correct that, and we've corrected that. We've talked about that, and that's not necessarily Carr's game as much as Justin's. I thought Carr did a great job in those situations. Right now, Justin, we know that that's something that he wants to do, and so we all just have to be on the same page, understand our gap integrity, understand our rush lanes, and do our best to not let him escape.
Maybe you've got the West on the wall in there, and you're talking about finding success in the division. And you've got some guys that predate you here, obviously, that have had a lot of success in the division. So how do you sort of balance the emphasis of that with also, obviously, you just have to put your head down and get ready for the next game too?
For us, we're 0-1 right now in the West. The past is the past. Right now, we got to find a way to win a football game, and it happens to be a West opponent, which makes it more exciting because it's a rivalry. It's a very good football team, and we got to get out there and we got to get after them.
There's a lot of dynamics.
That's one, Bruce.
Thank you. A lot of dynamics right now with your quarterback. Talk specifically about his decision-making process. Are you guys on the same page? Do you feel good about what you're seeing in his decision-making?
Yeah, both of us continually talk all the time. We're together quite a bit. My wife doesn't like it much, but we spend a lot of time together to make sure we're on the same page. And the good thing is whether something goes right or wrong, we're able to explain that to each other. So the idea is to just continually make that better and better, understand what we're trying to accomplish, and what the situation is, and as we continue to do that, and as we work together, we've only been about 5 games, I think we'll get better along the way.
Thank you very much, Coach.
All right, y'all.